Hi, welcome back, and today I'm doing another cider review. I've got Lidl's Woodgate vintage cider, comparing that to Henry Weston's vintage cider, and I wonder why. It can't be a coincidence, or another coincidence, that these two labels are virtually identical. In fact, the only thing is that Woodgate have gone with their white font, but other than that, most of the detailing virtually identical. And it gets even more bizarre than that because this one is also made by Westons. So, what they taste like? Well, let's get these into a glass and we're going to see. So, you might have heard me ranting in my last video that I was a bit sort of fed up that cider producers aren't putting sort of lots of goodness on the back of the bottle, telling us about the vintage, the variety, how it's made, and these two still haven't got it, you know, and I really wish they would, because the craft beer guys have really got it down to a T, really. So in the UK, if a cider only has to be 35% apple juice to call itself a cider, and I'm assuming that these are of a higher quality than that, but it doesn't actually state it on the back of the bottle. Henry Weston's medium dry vintage cider, it does say it's from a single year's harvest, which is brilliant. It's an 8.2 by volume, so a bit of a heavy hitter, so to be respected. It does tell me that it is sort of protected under European law, so it's a Hereford cider, it's a heritage cider, it's, you know, sort of got the protected logo, which is nice. But other than that, it doesn't tell me, you know, it doesn't state percentage of cider, it doesn't say anything, which is really disappointing. This one, you know, again, with the original apple, it was a cider made with sugars and sweeteners. And it doesn't say that, it just said vintage West Country cider. But again, there's no percentage of apple juice, so, you know, I'm assuming it is higher than the 35%, but I really like it on the back of the bottle. So, what do they look like? Well, there you go. So virtually identical in colour, so I've got to be really careful I don't mix these two up. They're both 2019 vintage. This one said 8.2, a lot stronger. So let's see if I can get lovely fresh apples. Nothing else, but oh yeah, absolutely smacks you in the nose of apples. Let's go for this one. Now, because they're both made by the same producer, I was expecting the same sort of thing, but there's virtually nothing on the nose there. Okay, let's try Mr. Henry Weston's first of all. It's not overly fizzy. Lovely depth of flavour. Cider is one of those drinks that it can have a big full flavour but still be quite light as well. And I tell you, although you can taste the alcohol in there, if you told me this was, you know, 8.2, you really wouldn't have a Scooby. You would really, you know, you could really make a fool of yourself with this one, because that is absolutely gorgeous. Full flavour, taste light, not overly fizzy, so I don't think it's a forced carbonation. Oh, and fantastic. And it's got that, you know, that quiet lethality you often get with cider. Let's taste the Woodgates. Again, there appears to be less carbonation. I don't know if you're picking that up. Yeah, Henry Weston's vintage is sort of sparkling away there, whereas this is virtually dissipated. There's a few little bubbles rising, but hardly anything. It does taste. There is a difference in flavour. Again, you don't taste the alcohol. I said 7.3, and you're not getting that. So quite light, but also more akin to a still cider. It is slightly carbonated, slightly fizzy on the tongue. But yeah, much more akin to a sort of a traditional flat cider, but with just that slight fermentation sort of fizz you get on the tongue. A bit like the jam when it's, you know, going in the fridge. But yeah. Okay, so we have two virtually identical ciders. It's the carbonation and a slight aroma that you get with this one, which gives me the edge. And if I had to buy another one, although they're both really good, I would go with the Henry Westons. Slightly different flavours, but again, we're getting really close now, and it could be because this is an 8.2 versus a 7.3. If cost is a factor, this one was £2 and this one was £1.83. Now I am in Wales and we do have a minimum pricing unit. I think it's 50p a unit, so you might be able to get it slightly cheaper if you're living in England. So there you go, two very good ciders. And not at all, you know, what I was expecting. But there you go. Try myself, as ever. Be good to yourselves. And if you could do me a big favour, hit the like and subscribe. Cheers.